Have you ever met someone who felt like a whirlwind? One minute, they're passionately debating philosophy with you, and the next, they're planning a spontaneous weekend trip to a place you've never heard of. They're charming, witty, and have a social circle so wide it feels like they know everyone. But just when you think you're getting close, they seem to drift away, lost in their own thoughts, a little distant, a little hard to pin down. If this sounds familiar, you've likely encountered the enigmatic Gemini man. Trying to understand him can feel like trying to catch the wind in a bottle. He's a fascinating paradox, an intellectual and a wanderer, a social butterfly and a deep thinker. And falling for one? That's an adventure all on its own. But here's the secret: you don't make a Gemini man fall in love. You can't trick or strategize your way into his heart. Instead, you create an environment so captivating, so mentally stimulating, and so liberating that he can't imagine being anywhere else. It's about becoming the one person who doesn't just tolerate his dual nature, but celebrates it. So, if you're ready to decode the beautiful complexity of the Gemini man, stick around. We're about to explore the real secrets to unlocking his heart's desire, and it all starts in the one place he values most: his mind. The single most important thing to understand about a Gemini man is that he is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, and information. This means the fastest, most direct path to his heart is through his brain. Physical attraction is great, it's a starting point for anyone. But for a Gemini, it's fleeting. It's like the cover of a book. If the pages inside are blank, he'll lose interest before you even get to chapter 1. He craves a mental equal. Someone who can keep up with his quick-fire thoughts, challenge his ideas, and introduce him to new perspectives. Think of conversation with him not as a simple exchange of information, but as a sport. It's a game of mental tennis. He'll serve an interesting idea, and he's thrilled when you return it with a witty comment, a challenging question, or a fascinating fact of your own. Small talk will be the death of your connection. Asking him, "How was your day?" is fine, but it won't capture his imagination. Instead, ask him what he thinks about a new documentary you watched. Ask him for his theory on a strange historical event. Talk about the future, about technology, about art, about what makes people tick. Don't be afraid to disagree with him. A Gemini doesn't want a yes man. A healthy, spirited debate is like a 5-star meal for his mind. He respects someone with their own well-formed opinions, even if they contradict his. It shows that you have your own inner world, your own mind, and that's incredibly attractive to him. He's also a master of banter. Witty, playful, and sometimes a little bit teasing. Learn to play along. Don't take everything so seriously. If he teases you, tease him right back. This light-hearted sparring is a form of affection for him. It's how he flirts and builds rapport. The bottom line is, you need to be an interesting person to keep an interesting person engaged. Read books. Have hobbies. Cultivate your own passions and be ready to talk about them. When he sees that your mind is a vibrant, exciting place to be, he'll want to spend a lot more time there. That is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Now that you've engaged his mind, it's time to appeal to his soul. And a Gemini's soul is that of a perpetual adventurer. There is one word that is the absolute enemy of a relationship with a Gemini man: routine. Routine is a cage, and a Gemini will always find a way to fly out of it. He is fundamentally wired for novelty, change, and new experiences. He wants to feel like life is a grand, unfolding story, not a predictable schedule. If your idea of a perfect date night is dinner and a movie every Friday, you're going to lose him. Not because he doesn't like you, but because his spirit will start to feel starved. To truly captivate him, you have to be his partner in adventure. This doesn't mean you have to be a globe-trotting adrenaline junkie. Adventure, for a Gemini, is more about a state of mind. It's about breaking the monotony. Instead of just asking him to dinner, say, "Hey, there's a part of the city we've never explored. Let's go get lost there on Saturday and find a random place to eat. Instead of a movie, suggest an escape room, a live comedy show, or a class where you can both learn something new, like pottery or bartending. Be spontaneous. If you're driving around and see a sign for a weird local festival, suggest you pull over and check it out. These unplanned detours are the moments a Gemini lives for. He loves surprises. Not necessarily lavish gifts, but surprising him with an experience. Tickets to see his favorite band, a picnic packed and ready to go, a day trip planned in secret. This shows him that you understand his need for excitement and that you're willing and able to provide it. It makes him see you not just as a partner, but as a co-conspirator in fun. He is incredibly curious. He wants to know how things work, why things are the way they are, and what's over the next hill. Nurture that curiosity. Go to museums with him. Watch documentaries and then talk about them for hours. When you become the person who brings novelty and excitement into his life, you become indispensable. He'll start to associate you with freedom and fun, rather than obligation and routine. And that's a powerful, powerful connection for a man who fears being tied down more than anything else. You're not the cage, you're the key to unlocking it. One of the most famous traits of a Gemini is his duality, represented by the celestial twins. This means he's a social creature. He's the life of the party, the guy who can strike up a conversation with anyone. His social life is not just a hobby, it's a vital part of who he is. It's how he gathers information, tests out ideas, and recharges his mental batteries. Trying to limit his social life or getting jealous of his many friends is one of the fastest ways to push him away. He will interpret it as an attempt to control him, to dim his light. Instead, you need to understand and embrace this part of him. But more importantly, you need to have a life of your own. A Gemini is not looking for a partner who will merge with him and become one entity. He's an air sign, he needs space to move, to breathe. He is attracted to independence. He wants to be with someone who has their own friends, their own hobbies, their own passions. When he's out with his friends, it's the perfect time for you to be out with yours, or engrossed in a project you love. This isn't about playing games or making him miss you. It's about being two whole, complete individuals who choose to come together. When he comes back from a social outing, he'll be excited to tell you about the interesting conversations he had and the people he met. And he'll be just as excited to hear about what you were up to. This creates a dynamic where you both bring new energy and stories back into the relationship, keeping it fresh and interesting. A partner who is clingy or needy feels like an anchor to a Gemini. He wants a co-pilot, not a passenger who is scared of turbulence. So be confident in your own skin. Go out and live a life that you find fascinating. He will be drawn to your vibrant energy like a moth to a flame. When he sees that you don't need him for your happiness, but that you choose to share your already happy life with him, it removes the pressure of commitment. Ironically, by giving him the freedom he craves, you make him want to come closer. He will see you as a safe harbor, a place of fun and acceptance, not a place of restriction. He'll be proud to introduce you to his wide circle of friends, knowing that you can hold your own and that you have your own fascinating stories to tell. Being with a Gemini man means building a life alongside him, not just revolving your life around him. And that independence is the secret sauce to making him see you as a long-term partner. We've talked about his mind, his love for adventure, and his need for freedom. But now we need to talk about the most complex part of the Gemini puzzle, his emotions. This is where many people get confused or hurt. As an air sign ruled by Mercury, a Gemini man processes his feelings through logic and thought, not through deep, watery emotion like a Cancer or a Pisces might. He can sometimes seem detached, emotionally distant, or even a little cold. He might rationalize his feelings or talk about them in a very analytical way. It's crucial to understand that this is not because he doesn't have feelings. He feels things very deeply. He just has a different operating system for processing them. Heavy, dramatic, emotional confrontations are likely to make him shut down and retreat. He doesn't know how to navigate that space, and it makes him uncomfortable. He'll feel cornered, and his first instinct will be to escape. So, how do you connect with him on an emotional level? You have to use the language he understands: communication. If you are upset or need to express a feeling, try to do it calmly and rationally. Instead of saying, "You always ignore me and it makes me so angry and sad," which might sound like an accusation to him, try framing it logically. "Hey, when we don't talk for a day, I start to feel a little disconnected. It would mean a lot to me if we could check in, even just for a minute." This approach presents a problem and a solution, which his mind can easily grasp and work with. It doesn't trigger his flight response. Patience is your greatest ally. A Gemini man often needs time and space to figure out how he feels about someone or something. He'll analyze it from every angle. He'll talk it out with himself. Pushing him for a label or a declaration of love before he's ready is a recipe for disaster. He needs to arrive at that conclusion on his own terms, through his own mental process. The best way to foster emotional intimacy with him is to build a foundation of unshakable friendship. Be the person he can tell anything to without fear of judgment. Be his confidant, his sounding board for his crazy ideas. When he feels safe enough to share the inner workings of his mind with you, his doubts, his fears, his wildest dreams, that is the Gemini version of baring his soul. That intellectual and friendly intimacy is the precursor to romantic love for him. He falls in love with his best friend. So don't mistake his analytical nature for a lack of heart. His heart is there, it's just protected by layers of intellect and a need for freedom. Be patient, communicate clearly, and build a friendship so strong that it becomes the safest and most exciting place for him to be. That is how you'll slowly and gently unlock his heart. So, we've journeyed through the intricate landscape of the Gemini man's mind, his soul, and his heart. We've learned that the key isn't a magic trick or a secret formula. It's a genuine connection built on a few core pillars. First, you must be his mental sparring partner. The one who engages his intellect, appreciates his wit, and brings your own fascinating ideas to the table. The connection begins in the mind. Second, you have to be his partner in adventure. Embrace spontaneity, break the routine, and be the person who says yes to the weird and wonderful detours of life. You become his escape from the mundane. Third, you must honor his freedom by cherishing your own. Live a full, independent life that doesn't revolve around him. This independence is magnetic, showing him that a relationship with you is an expansion of his world, not a restriction. And finally, you must learn to speak his emotional language. Communicate with clarity and patience, building a foundation of friendship so strong that it becomes the safest place for him to land. Connecting with a Gemini man is not for the faint of heart. It requires intelligence, confidence, patience, and a genuine love for life's adventures. But if you are that person, if you are naturally curious, communicative, and independent, then you may find that you don't have to try to be his ideal partner. You already are. The goal isn't to change yourself to fit his world. The goal is to build a world of your own that is so vibrant and exciting that a curious, intelligent, and adventurous soul like his can't help but want to be a part of it. In the end, the secret to unlocking a Gemini man's heart is simply to be a person worth discovering, over and over again.